All right, so welcome back for session two. I'm glad to see you all here, Mom, Corey, Jason, here. Today we're going to focus on just really following up with what we talked about in the first session. I know that, we were discussing things that I had summarized from the session, how the family has responded to Jason's behaviors in school. And from what I know, they have been deemed as disruptive behaviors. And so the first session was really about talking about, why those things were going on, why Jason was reacting to the things that was going on. I know for you, Mom, Jason is someone that you really confide in as your son. He is the youngest sibling. And you have noticed that Jason is having some challenges in school, but he academically can do it. So just for the purposes of this session, we're really going to focus on how to look at those feelings, pull those feelings out, and describe how it really affects the family as a whole, as a system, including dad and your sister. And then kind of talk about in that moment of, being disruptive or having challenges in school, Jason, how you're dealing with those feelings. What are those feelings? What impulsive thoughts are you having that makes you want to do those things in the classroom? Do you guys have any questions for me before we start?
Not at this time.
No.
Okay. So let's start with kind of looking at when Jason has these behaviors in the classroom. So Jason, what is it that you're doing that your teachers are really commenting on or even saying is disruptive?
Well, I'm not doing nothing to me. I don't think I'm doing anything wrong. They do. Maybe they don't like me. I don't know.
Okay. Are you given tasks that you think you can actually complete in a timely manner?
Yeah, I just do it faster than what they want me to do. Then I have time to do nothing, so I can't just sit there doing nothing.
Understandable. Mom, how do you feel about the things that Jason is saying about he actually is doing the work?
He's doing the work, but he's doing it at his pace.
Okay.
And he's basically going to do what he want to do when he want to do it, as long as he's doing the schoolwork and he have all that extra time where he has to fulfill that extra time.
Right. Do you see him as being a kid that is having challenges with paying attention to certain things or even doing tasks in a timely manner or even listening to rules or even directions from authority? Do you see any red flags in that?
No, not necessarily red flags, but on certain occasions he gets frustrated.
Okay.
And he can't have a lot of free time on his hand because that allows him to do a lot of unnecessarily thinking a lot.
Right.
So what you have to do is keep him busy at all times. Either he has to catch up with the class or the class have to catch up with him. But it has to be equal in the classroom.
Okay. And I know he's not here in the session today. Your husband, Jim, how do you all kind of work on, Jason's behaviors or even process those things? How does it look like?
We don't. He has to work.
Okay.
Next question.
Okay. So he's really busy and not always around. So, Mom, I assume that you're the person that kind of has to report and respond to the things that they're saying that Jason is doing. Am I correct?
Of course.
Okay. How do you take that? Do you take responsibility in that?
I have to.
Okay.
I'm the only parent involved.
Okay. All right. So when you're having the thoughts of, okay, I'm working on a task, I've completed a task, I've done these things, I can do it. It's easy to me, but I just choose maybe not to do it right now because it's something that I may not want to do, Jason. What thoughts are going through your head at the time?
Basically, it's too easy for me. I mean, that's not the stuff they want me to do is not really a task. It's just stuff that they get paid to tell me to do, and I do it. And then after that, I pretty much do what I want.
Okay. So we kind of are reframing the situation here when we're discussing, what is it that is going through my head that tells me in this moment, in this classroom, with this specific task, I no longer feel that I have to do it or I need to do it or it's something that I'm not interested in. So
sitting still is my problem.
Okay. Do you know maybe just off the top of things from your experiences, Mom, and you can comment on this, what alternative things could you do so that you're not being off task?
Uh, I don't, give me something else to do. I don't know.
Okay.
Just having me sit there is not going to work. Obviously, that's why I'm here.
Okay, so more work, and I acknowledge. I mean, I really do acknowledge your feelings in this, and it's hard to own up and say I sometimes don't get the work done, and I appreciate that, and I think the important part about this is coming up with a plan, or maybe looking at how, Jason, you may see it as I may need something else to do, or this is not disruptive, I just get bored. And then as soon as the information is communicated to your family, your mom, who is the point of contact, it looks as if you're being this kid in school that just chooses not to do these things, kind of in a defiant manner, but it's not a defiant manner from what I'm hearing. So, Mom, let's look at how to enact on this. Let's think about how we can include everybody. I know you are a central person in this problem solving, but what is it that Dad could probably do to help encourage Jason? What is it that his sister can do to probably help encourage him, so that we can kind of come to a common ground on attacking this disruptive behavior, or even the thoughts of not wanting to continue a task?
What does he care? He has to work all the time.
Okay. So is there a way that, even though he is having to work all the time, that we could kind of still include him? He may not have as much participation or involvement, but he can be a supportive person. Because even though, there's not 100%, there is still part of the system with the family. So we still want to include Dad, because Dad is a part of the family. And, your behaviors may affect him in some way. And again, him being busy may affect you, and it may be a primary reason why you're choosing to do and say things about your relationship with him. So what is it that you think realistically you could give Dad as a task to help alleviate your behavior?
Pay attention.
Okay, paying more attention.
I mean, he knows I have a problem.
Okay.
If he's not willing, if he don't want to help, why would I even ask him to help? I mean,
Okay.
it's just reality. This ain't no cartoon or nothing.
Okay. Mom, do you feel that you take a little bit more responsibility in the situation?
I have to.
Okay. Do you feel like you have no other choices?
No, I don't have any other choice.
Okay.
All I want to do is excel and also deal with whatever situation he's got going on in his brain.
Okay. What would be a short-term goal now that we have gotten to the part of the session where we're kind of, I'm not going to say we're going in circles. We just haven't found a common ground with, expectations that everybody in the system can have. What do you think moving forward for the next session that we can do? Because I have noticed that, Jason reports that he has tried to work on the behavior in the classroom, and there's been fewer reports of this disruptive behavior now that you're more involved, and you guys are seeking resources and help from an outside person. So what is it that we can kind of do moving forward for the next session? What will be one goal?
One goal is actually to quit bringing up his father, because he knows that his father's not putting in the time to understand the problem.
Okay.
So if you're not going to put in the time to understand the problem, you don't even need to mention his name, because then that's adding fuel to the fire. That's
Okay.
just compounding everything.
Okay. Jason, do you hear your mom?
Yeah, I mean, you're right. But, I mean, there's only so much you can do. It's not just the classroom. It's the world in general. I mean, I only sit in class for an hour, then I'm put back out there in the world to learn on my own.
Okay. So some support, some realistic perceptions.
I don't want nobody pointing fingers at me like I'm a monster or nothing. I'm no different from another person.
Right.
He's just mostly seeking that male guidance. Mom can only do so much.
And then normalizing is a big factor, that this is not an abnormal behavior. This happens commonly, in teen boys, in adolescent stages, and even families where there is a primary provider who has a big role in other organizations or other memberships within the community. So a lot of times they can't, give 100% to certain situations. So just a few things moving forward. I would like to see you all for the next session, and we'll really highlight the next session, the root task, the root thoughts, even more so going forward. But I really do appreciate your time for coming in today. And Jason, I do look forward to seeing you next session. Mom, you too. So you guys have any questions for me?
No. We're looking forward to the next section. But like
I'm not saying I'm looking forward to it, but I'll be here.
We are looking forward to the next session. The only thing I say is don't mention his father.
Okay.
Okay?
All right. Well, thank you. Have a good day.
You too.